frozen at my door. The snowstorm had been howling for hours. Thick flakes fell from the sky like pieces of torn paper, covering everything in white. Alex sat inside his wooden cabin, far from the city, with a cup of warm tea in his hands. His fireplace crackled softly. He had come to the mountains to be alone, to forget the noise of the world. Then, a knock. Soft, weak, almost like the wind had learned how to knock. Alex frowned and stood up. No one ever came here. He walked to the door and opened it slowly. His breath caught in his throat. There, lying half buried in the snow, was a woman. No, an alien woman. She had long silver hair, tangled and wet. Her skin was pale blue, her lips turning purple from the cold. She wore tattered clothes that barely covered her. Her body was thin, too thin. She looked like she hadn't eaten in days. Her arms were wrapped around something, a small bundle wrapped in cloth. She wasn't moving. Alex dropped his tea and rushed outside. "Hey, can you hear me?" he shouted. No answer. Without thinking, he picked her up. She was light, too light, like a dying bird. The bundle in her arms stayed close to her chest. Carefully, he carried both inside and shut the door behind him. He laid her on the rug near the fire and grabbed blankets. He wrapped her body and gently pulled off her wet boots. Her feet were nearly frozen. He touched her wrist. There was a pulse, but it was faint. He moved quickly, heated water, took off her wet clothes with care, wrapped her in warm towels and layers. The whole time, the strange bundle stayed in her arms. She didn't let go, even in her sleep. Alex didn't try to open it. Not yet. Minutes turned into an hour. Her breathing was shallow, but it became a little stronger. Her body stopped shivering. She was still asleep, but her face looked a little less tight with pain. He sat down across from her, staring into the fire. What just happened? An alien woman. At his door. During a storm. He looked at her again. She didn't look dangerous. In fact, she looked broken. Lost. Her cheeks were hollow and her hands were full of cuts and frostbite. She was young. Maybe his age, maybe younger. He had never seen someone look so fragile. She whimpered in her sleep. Alex leaned forward. "It's okay," he whispered. "You're safe now." He didn't know if she understood, but she seemed to calm down. Later, as the storm howled louder, Alex finally got up and brought a bowl of warm soup. He sat beside her and slowly lifted the spoon to her lips. At first she didn't move, but then, as if her body finally smelled warmth, her lips parted. She took a tiny sip. Then another. She didn't open her eyes. But she was alive. Alex sighed with relief. "You're going to be okay." Suddenly, the bundle in her arms made a noise. He jumped back, eyes wide. It wasn't a machine. It wasn't a weapon. It was moving. Carefully, he reached forward. "What are you holding?" He murmured. The alien woman clutched it tighter in her sleep, a protective instinct. He gently pulled the edge of the cloth aside. Inside, a soft glow. It wasn't a baby. It wasn't food. It was a glowing orb, pulsing with a strange light, almost like it was alive. He pulled his hand back quickly, startled. "What is that?" he whispered. But the alien woman didn't wake. She only turned slightly, as if hiding it from danger. Alex sat back, heart racing. Who was she? Where did she come from, and why was she carrying something like that? He looked out the window. The storm wasn't slowing down. If she had been out there for even 5 more minutes, she might have died. Something told him this wasn't a random accident. Someone left her out there. Or someone was chasing her. Alex looked at the woman's face again. She was still breathing, still holding the glowing bundle, still in his home. He had no idea what he had gotten himself into. But deep inside, he knew one thing. He couldn't let her go, not now, not ever. For 2 days she didn't speak. She slept near the fire, wrapped in blankets, her body slowly warming. Alex gave her soup, water, and rest. He watched over her like a quiet guardian, unsure what to do but knowing she needed him. The glowing orb stayed in her arms, and he didn't touch it again. It pulsed softly, like a heartbeat made of light. On the third morning, something changed. Alex was cleaning near the window when he heard a soft gasp. He turned fast. The alien woman was awake. Her pale blue eyes blinked slowly. She looked around the room, confused, frightened. Her hands gripped the blanket, then the glowing bundle. She pulled it close to her chest like a scared animal. Alex stepped back and raised his hands. "It's okay," he said gently. "You're safe here." She stared at him. Her lips trembled. She didn't speak, only watched him like she was trying to figure out if he was dangerous. Her eyes flicked to the door, the window, then back to him. Her whole body was tense. Alex sat down slowly across the room. "You were in the snow, outside. I brought you in. You would have died." She tilted her head at his words. Her brows furrowed. Clearly, she didn't understand English. He pointed at her, then at the snow outside. "You, there. Cold. Hurt." Then he pointed to himself. "Me. Help." She stared, then looked down. Her fingers touched the cuts on her arm, the bandages Alex had placed. Her eyes widened, maybe realizing he had cared for her. A moment passed. She whispered something in her language, soft, musical, like wind through crystal. Alex shook his head. "I don't know your words." She tried again, slowly. Thank you." The voice was weak, but it was English, or at least her version of it. Alex's eyes lit up. "You know English?" She struggled with the next sentence. Little. Not good." "That's okay. You're doing great," he said with a smile. "I'm Alex." He pointed to himself again. "Alex." She looked at him, then lowered her eyes. "Virea." Her name. It sounded soft and sad. "Virea," Alex repeated gently. "That's a beautiful name." She said nothing. Her eyes flicked to the orb. Alex followed her gaze. "What is that?" he asked, her hands tightened around it. "Safe." "Safe?" She nodded. Alex didn't press. He could see she was still scared, still weak. He got up and brought her a bowl of hot soup. He sat it beside her and stepped back. Virea smelled the food, then reached with shaking hands. She drank slowly, carefully. Every spoonful seemed to give her a little more life. When she finished, she looked at him again. Her voice was thin, but clearer now. "Why? Help me?" Alex was quiet for a moment. The question surprised him. He didn't really know the answer. Maybe it was because he was human. Maybe it was because he couldn't stand seeing someone left to die. Or maybe it was her eyes, the silent pain in them. "No one should die alone. In the cold," he said softly. She didn't answer, but her gaze softened. That night, the wind outside returned stronger than before. Snow hit the windows. The fire flickered, casting warm light across the cabin walls. Virea was sitting now, her back resting on the sofa. Her arms still hugged the glowing orb. Alex sat across from her, drinking tea. "I don't know who you are," he said quietly, "but I won't hurt you. I promise." She looked at him for a long time. Then she nodded. And just before she closed her eyes again, she whispered something that made Alex sit up straight. "They... coming." "What?" She didn't speak again. Her eyes shut, but the orb pulsed red for the first time. Not soft blue, but red. Like danger. Alex's heart pounded. Who was coming? And why was she so afraid? Whatever this was, it wasn't over. It had just begun. That night, the storm outside screamed like a wild animal. The wind shook the windows and snow beat against the cabin walls. Inside, the fire burned low. The air felt heavy, not just from the cold, but from the silence between Alex and Varela. She had barely spoken since warning him. They, coming. Now she slept again. Her head rested against the arm of the couch. The glowing orb was wrapped tightly in her arms, like a baby or a treasure she could never lose. Alex sat nearby, wide awake. He couldn't stop thinking about her words. Who were they? And why did that strange orb turn red after she said it? Suddenly, Varela stirred. She twisted in her sleep. Her face was tense. Her hands shook. Then, she cried. Not loud, not like a child, but soft, broken sobs, like someone trying not to be heard. Alex froze. Tears slid from her closed eyes, and she whispered words in her own language. Alex didn't understand the meaning, but the pain. That needed no translation. He stepped closer and knelt by her side. It's okay, he whispered. You're safe now. She didn't wake. Her hand just reached blindly in the dark and found his. Alex felt her thin fingers grip his tightly. She held on like someone drowning. He didn't pull away. She needed this, maybe more than food, more than sleep. The next morning, Varela was quiet. She sat by the fire, staring into the flames, knees pulled to her chest. The orb sat glowing softly beside her, now blue again. Alex handed her a cup of warm water. She nodded a thank you but didn't speak. He sat across from her, trying to find the right words. You cried last night, he said softly. She looked away. I don't know what you've been through, he continued, but you're not alone anymore. She kept staring at the fire. Then finally, in a broken voice, she whispered, They killed my people. Alex felt his stomach drop. She swallowed hard. Her eyes were distant, hollow. We ran. They hunted, took the strong, burned the weak. He leaned forward. And you? I escaped, took the core. Her eyes flicked toward the orb. It's life, of my kind. Last one. Alex stared at the glowing object. It wasn't just important, it was sacred. A memory, a soul, a seed? And now they want it back? He asked. She nodded. They want to destroy it. End all of us. He ran a hand through his hair. And you've been running all this time? Many days. No food, no sleep. I thought I would die, but you didn't. She looked up slowly. Because you found me. A quiet moment passed between them. Then Varela's eyes filled again with tears, but this time, not from fear. You are kind, she whispered. Human, kind. Alex smiled sadly. Sometimes we are. Later, while she rested, Alex stepped outside. The snow had stopped, but the sky was gray and heavy. He looked around the frozen woods, then he saw it. Tracks fresh, not his, not hers. Heavy boots, at least 3 sets. Leading toward his cabin, he rushed back inside and locked the door. Varela, he said, gently shaking her shoulder. We have a problem. She woke fast. Her eyes darted to the orb. Alex helped her sit up. Someone's out there, maybe the ones you were running from. She stood, swaying from weakness but alert. We must go. Not yet, he said. We need a plan. If we leave now, they'll follow our tracks. We wait till dark. She nodded. I trust you. Alex felt that word hit deep. Trust. A hunted alien girl had placed her life in his hands. He looked at the orb glowing between them. Whatever this thing was, whatever it held, he would protect it. And her. No matter what. Night fell like a curtain over the mountain. The wind had calmed, but the silence was heavier than ever. Snow crunched outside, not from wind, but from footsteps. Alex moved through the cabin like a shadow, checking the windows, loading his old rifle and stuffing food into a backpack. He didn't have much, but enough to survive a few days in the forest. Berea stood near the fireplace, arms around the glowing orb. Her blue skin looked pale in the flickering firelight, and her eyes stayed locked on the door. "They're close," she whispered. "I feel them." Alex nodded. "I saw the tracks. 3, maybe 4 of them." She looked down. "They are not men, not really. Warlords. Burners of sky. They kill for sport. For silence. For silence? They erase races, cultures, galaxies." Her voice broke. "They erased mine." Alex clenched his jaw. "Not you. Not today." He motioned for her to come closer. "We leave now, but quietly, through the back path." She hesitated. "The orb, it leaves a trail. Only I can carry. But it calls them." Alex reached for a large old toolbox. "Then we make sure they don't follow us far." The snow crunched again. Closer. Alex and Berea slipped out the back, boots deep in snow. Behind them, a trail of human and alien footprints marked the white ground, but that wasn't all. Alex had wired the cabin with makeshift traps, tripwires connected to firecrackers, old fuel cans, and flash grenades from his time in the service. Not much, but enough to slow someone down. They reached the tree line just as a dark shape appeared near the cabin. Too late. The first trap exploded. Boom! A bright flash lit the trees. Then angry shouting in a harsh alien language tore through the night. Berea gasped, clutching the orb tighter. "They found us," she said. Alex took her hand. "Then we keep moving." The forest was deep and frozen. Each step was slow. Berea struggled to keep up, but Alex didn't leave her behind. He helped her over, fallen logs through sharp brush across thin sheets of ice. Behind them, the sound of pursuit grew louder. The hunters didn't care about being quiet anymore. They were getting closer. Suddenly, a red light shot past them and exploded in a tree. Boom! Alex pulled Berea down. "They've got plasma guns," Berea groaned. "They don't miss twice." Then, "We don't stop." They pushed forward until they found a rocky outcrop, a small cave hidden behind frozen vines. In here, Alex pulled her inside just as another blast lit the forest behind them. They dropped to the ground, breathless. For a while, only their gasps filled the air. Berea's eyes were wide. "They will find us." Alex looked at her. "Then tell me what this orb really is. Why is it worth dying for?" She held it out carefully. "The last echo of my people," she said. "Our memory, our voices, our knowledge. It holds everything. If it breaks, we vanish." Alex stared at the glowing orb. "So they're not just hunting you, they're hunting an entire civilization's soul." She nodded. "Then I swear to you, Berea, they won't get it." Suddenly a voice echoed through the trees. Cold, robotic, cruel. "Give us the relic, and the girl dies quickly." Alex peeked through a gap in the rock wall. 3 tall figures in black armor walked slowly through the trees, scanning the ground with red lights. Their skin shimmered like oil under moonlight. They moved like machines. No warmth, no hesitation. Berea trembled beside him. Alex whispered, "Do they know this cave?" She shook her head. "Not yet. But the orb is loud." He looked at the rock above them. "Then we give them something else to hear." He pulled a small device from his backpack, an old emergency beacon. He set it to blink, then threw it far across the snow in the other direction. The hunters turned. The red lights moved away. Alex exhaled slowly. "That won't fool them for long." "But it gave us time," Berea whispered. Alex turned to her, voice firm. "You'll live, Berea, even if I don't. You'll carry your people's voice." She shook her head, tears rising. "No," she said. "I don't want to be the last." Alex reached out and touched her shoulder gently. "You won't be," he promised. "Not while I'm still breathing." And in the shadows of the cave, the orb pulsed brighter, not red, but gold. The forest was quiet again. Too quiet. Alex and Varela didn't speak as they made their way back toward the cabin from the long side of the mountain. They had circled for hours through frozen brush hoping to shake off the hunters. The cold bit through their clothes. The stars above were sharp and bright, but the ground felt like a trap waiting to snap. Then, in the distance, smoke. Alex stopped, in his tracks. No. Varela followed his gaze. Her breath caught. The cabin. Burning. Flames licked through the roof. Orange light danced in the dark. A place that had once been warm, safe and quiet, was now nothing but fire and ash. They found it, Varela whispered. Alex's fists clenched. I knew they would. They hid behind a snow-covered log. Through the trees, they saw shadows moving around the cabin. 3 figures in dark armor watched the fire. One of them pointed toward the forest, the direction they had come from earlier. They're searching for us, Alex muttered, but they still don't know where we really went. Varela sat down slowly, her legs weak. That place. It was the first home I felt safe in, she said. Now it's gone. Alex looked at her. It wasn't the cabin that made it safe. It was us. She met his eyes. But where do we go now? He didn't answer right away. Then he looked up toward the mountains. I know a cave system, old mining tunnels. Hidden, dangerous. But it's better than running forever, she nodded. Then we go. They waited until the hunters moved deeper into the woods. Then, using the firelight as cover, they slipped past the edge of the burning cabin, smoke masking their scent and steps. But something stopped Alex. A small, burnt photo frame lay half buried in the snow near the porch. It was of his parents, old smiling faces now blackened around the edges. He picked it up. Varela touched his arm. You miss them? He nodded slowly. I built this cabin because they loved the mountains. I wanted to feel close to them again. She said nothing, but her hand stayed on his arm a little longer than necessary. Then they ran. By morning, the mountain grew colder. The path turned steep and slippery. Varela nearly fell twice, but Alex caught her both times. You shouldn't carry me, she said, breathlessly. I'm not, he replied. I'm walking with you. Finally, they reached a narrow crack in the stone, barely visible. Alex pushed the rock aside. Here, they slipped inside. The air in the cave was dry, but the walls were rough and cold. It stretched deep, black, tunnels like veins under the earth. Alex lit a small lantern. Varela sat against the wall, clutching the orb. Her hands trembled. Alex watched the orb carefully. It was glowing, but not red, not blue. Green. What does green mean? He asked. Varela looked surprised. Peace, trust. He gave a tired smile. So, you trust me now? She looked at him. Slowly, she nodded. I do. They sat in silence for a while. The cold air bit at their skin, but the warmth between them began to grow. Alex finally spoke. You know, when I found you on my doorstep, I thought I was saving you. You did. But now I feel like maybe you saved me too. She tilted her head. How? I had no purpose before this. Just silence, just snow, but now I have someone to protect. Her eyes shimmered. I thought I had lost everything, but now I feel something I haven't in years. What? She whispered. Hope. Suddenly a noise echoed from deeper in the cave, a scrape, a footstep. Alex stood fast, lantern in one hand, weapon in the other. Varela clutched the orb tightly. Then, a second sound, closer. They weren't alone. Alex whispered, Go deeper, stay low. But no argument. She slipped into the shadows of the tunnel. Alex waited. Footsteps grew louder. A shadow appeared in the entrance of the cave. Then, boom! Alex's tripwire exploded, just like the one at the cabin. A flash of light. A scream. The first hunter had walked into the trap. Alex ran back to Varela. We move now, They raced through the tunnel, the orb pulsing wildly now. Viraya gasped. It's warning us. How many are left? 2. Alex looked ahead into the black tunnels. Then we'll deal with them. He turned to her, eyes steady. I promised you'd live, Viraya. She touched his hand. And now, I promise you the same. The tunnel was quiet again. Only the sound of dripping water echoed through the dark. Alex and Viraya sat deep inside the old mine, tired, dirty, but alive. The orb sat on the cave floor between them, glowing soft gold. It had stopped pulsing. For now. Alex broke the silence. Tell me the truth, Viraya. She looked at him. I've risked my life for you, he said. You owe me that much. Viraya lowered her eyes. Her fingers slowly ran across the smooth surface of the orb. You're right. She took a deep breath. And finally, began. My people were called the Ariani, she said softly. We were not warriors. We were builders, healers, dreamers. She paused, looking into the dark tunnel. We had no armies, no weapons. We lived on a green world full of water, trees, light. We believed if we stayed peaceful, the galaxy would leave us alone. Alex listened closely, but one day ships came, not for war, for greed. Her voice shook. They said our planet was rich, not with gold, but with knowledge. She touched the orb. This is what they wanted. Alex stared at the soft light. So, what is it really? Viraya smiled faintly. A soul library, millions of minds, memories, stories, skills stored in light, all of Ariani, all our people, here. Alex's chest tightened. You're telling me that's your entire race inside one orb? She nodded. Before the fall, we made 7 of these, only 1 escaped. Alex looked at her. And you? I was the Guardian's daughter, a priestess in training. I was told to run. I watched, my home burn as I flew into the sky with this. Her eyes shimmered. I never saw my family again. Silence filled the tunnel. Alex finally spoke. That's why they're hunting you. She nodded. If this orb dies, my people die forever. They can't speak, can't be reborn. I carry them all. Alex felt the weight of her words. That's more than anyone should have to carry alone. I didn't choose it, she whispered. He looked at her. But you didn't drop it either. She smiled weakly. Suddenly the orb pulsed again, green turning to orange. Alex tensed. What now? Viraya placed her hand on it. Not danger, but decision. It senses a path ahead. A path? Deep in these mines is a chamber. The ore here is old, resistant to energy. We can hide it, maybe forever. Alex frowned. You want to bury it? She looked torn. If I die, it lives. But what if you live and carry it? She didn't answer. Alex stood up. I didn't come this far to see you vanish. You don't understand, Alex. As long as I have it, I'm hunted. He stepped closer. Then let them come. Before she could reply, the air grew cold. Not from weather, from presence. Alex grabbed his weapon. Footsteps. Voices in a language he didn't know. But Viraya did. They found us, she whispered. The orb pulsed red. Alex's grip tightened. We can't fight in the open. We need the high ground. She nodded. They moved deeper into the mine, toward the chamber Viraya spoke of. The tunnels narrowed. The walls shimmered faintly. The air smelled like dust and stone. Finally, they entered a large cavern. Crystals glittered along the edges. An underground stream ran quietly through the back. Alex whistled. Beautiful. Viraya smiled sadly. This is where we hide the last of Ariani. But not yet, he said. Not if I can help it. He began setting traps, rocks above the doorframe, a trail of old mining oil, sharp tools hidden in the dirt. Viraya watched him. Work? You were a soldier, she said once. Why did you stop? He looked at her. Because I forgot who I was protecting. And now, he looked back at her. I remember. The first hunter entered. Slow, careful, scanning with red light. Alex's trap triggered. Crack. A heavy stone dropped on its head. The alien collapsed without a sound. One down. The other shouted and fired a red bolt blindly. Alex returned fire. Run! He shouted, but Varea didn't move. She raised the orb high. It glowed, brighter than ever before. The remaining hunter turned toward her and froze. A deep hum filled the cavern. Then a voice, not hers, not human, but ancient and layered, spoke from the orb. Guardian located, threat detected, Ariani memory system, active. The hunter screamed and fired, but the blast bent in midair. The orb pulsed gold, and the beam turned back on the hunter, striking its own armor. Silence followed. Only the sound of Varea breathing. The hunter was gone. Alex stood stunned. What was that? She looked at the orb in wonder. It woke up. It chose to protect us. Alex stared at her. Or maybe it chose you. She looked at him, heart pounding, and whispered, Then I can't run anymore. Alex smiled. Good, because I'm not leaving your side. The storm had passed. Days later, the sky above the mountain was clear for the first time in weeks. The sun peeked through the clouds, turning the snow silver. But down below, deep in the cave where ancient walls had protected lost memories, two souls sat in silence. Alex rested with his back against the stone. His shoulder was bruised, his jacket was torn, but his eyes were steady, watching the woman who had changed everything. Varea stood near the underground stream, the golden orb glowing in her arms like a living heart. She had not spoken in hours. She didn't need to. The silence between them now felt safe, warm. They're gone, Alex finally said. Varea turned. You sure? She asked quietly. He nodded. The last signal they sent out, no one answered. No more ships, no more hunters. She looked down at the orb. Then the voices of my people are safe. He smiled gently. And so are you. She walked toward him and sat beside him, her knees pulled close. I never thought I'd live to see a sunrise without fear, she whispered. You will see many more. She looked at him. Because of you. Alex shook his head. You survived long before I came along. All I did was open a door. Her eyes softened. That door saved my life. For a long moment they sat in silence. Then she asked, Will you go now? He turned to her. Why would I go? You helped me. You gave everything. Maybe. Now your part is done. He laughed softly. Is that what you think I'm here for? Just to play hero and walk away? She didn't answer. Alex leaned forward. Varea, the night you collapsed at my door, I thought I was just doing the right thing. Helping someone in need. He paused. But now, I see you. She blinked. See me? I see the weight you carry, the pain, the courage. And still, you chose to fight. You didn't run. I tried. But you didn't give up. Tears filled her eyes. I'm not leaving, he said gently. Not unless you push me away. She reached out, trembling fingers touching his hand. I won't, she whispered. Not ever. Later that day, they walked out of the cave for the first time. The forest looked different. Still cold. Still wild. But no longer cruel. Varea wore a coat Alex had stitched together for her. It was too big but warm. The orb was tucked safely in a sling across her chest. Where will we go now? She asked. Alex smiled. There's a small town at the bottom of the mountain. Quiet place. People mostly keep to themselves. She looked, nervous. They'll know I'm not human. Maybe, he said, but maybe they won't care. And if they do, then we build our own place again, like the cabin, somewhere no one can touch you. She nodded slowly. And you'll stay? I told you, he said, I'm yours now, like it or not. She smiled. I like it. That night they reached the edge of the woods. Varela stopped and turned to look back. At the mountains, the trees, the cave far behind them. That place. It held my past, she said. Alex stepped beside her. And this? She looked at him. This is my future. As they walked hand in hand toward the lights of the village far below, the orb pulsed again, warm and golden, like a quiet promise. The last of Ariani was not alone anymore, and neither was she.